Oh, boy, this next guest, he is one of the most accomplished front office guys in recent NFL history. He's worked at, he's currently working with UVA, Iowa, and Utah. Scott Pioli, let's bring him in. Worked with the Falcons, Chiefs, Patriots, briefly my Jets. Scott, how you doing, man?
J-Mac, I'm doing great. I know Rachel's over there, so what's up, Rachel? How are you?
Hey, Scott, how you been?
Yeah, we
doing
are
well, thanks. Doing well. Thanks, guys, for having me. I really, really appreciate it. Great to be here.
Yeah, it's been an awesome week. We're having a lot of fun. Now, we're not having as much fun as Charlottesville, Virginia, a town I know well, growing up in Virginia. By the way, how are things looking for the Cavs this year?
Hey, I'm not good at predicting things, and I was always, I never predict. But I'll tell you what, being around Tony Elliott, being around our athletic director, Carla Williams, there is some special stuff going on here. Now, we never know, right, if all of the great stuff that's happening translates to wins. But I'll tell you what, the way that Tony's doing things, the way that this athletic department is doing things, it's going to be a lot of fun. A lot of fun. They just do things the right way, and they work on the right stuff.
College football is going through like a big transformational period with all this NIL. Are you, as someone who worked in the NFL and you're now seeing this, it's like a totally different game, sport almost.
Yeah. Yeah, J-Mac, it's fascinating. I started, when I left the Falcons after the 2019 draft, Nick Saban hired me to come in and do some work for him at the University of Alabama as a consultant. And then Coach Kirby, Kirby Smart, brought me in there. And then I worked for a number of different schools and for Marcus up at Notre Dame. Anyway, they had me doing this one thing, but as this has evolved, you're right, it's becoming in a lot of ways very similar to professional sports, and not just for football programs, but for entire athletic departments, right? Each athletic department that's in these Power Four, conferences, they have $20.5 million to spend, not on football, but on all sports. So they're trying to figure out their revenue sharing. How are they going to build their model of how they're going to pay student athletes, not only in football, but in every sport. So I'm spending some time. And I tell you, it's a lot of fun. And there's so many similarities. And, I'm down for players being paid. I absolutely think that they should be. I just hope that they start to build in some things that make some of the crazy a little bit more certain.
So, and what are you thinking? Like building in, like can't transfer out to multiple times, or what kind of things do you think?
The transfer thing is always so touchy, right? Because people always go after the players when they transfer. But let's remember, coaches change jobs too, right? So I get the transfer portal, yet I'm not smart enough to figure out those answers. But there are people out there a lot smarter than me that can figure out some of the constructs that we can put in place to help young people, and I'm going to sound like an old man here, but to help focus on being able to chase your dream, chase something better, but also have a degree of commitment and accountability. And when I say that, that doesn't mean that kids shouldn't be able to transfer, but we need to put things in that make it more sensible and easier for them to understand why they're doing, not just that life's gotten too tough and I'm not starting, so I got to go somewhere else. There's a lot to it, but I really hope that they continue to build things out the right way. But I'm down for so much that so many of the changes that they have made.
And it's funny you use that phrasing, I'm not playing, I want to go somewhere else. Well, a guy you were part of drafted, Tom Brady, famously sat for a long time at Michigan, got his chance. But, anyways. You talked money.
He has said publicly the fact that he was pushed to go through the grind and to be uncomfortable and to have to work and do more and suffer a little bit, it also made him less entitled when he got there.
Certainly, yeah. Let's talk money. And a gentleman in Dallas, Micah Parsons, I kind of opened the show saying, listen, I don't think Jerry Jones is serious about football and putting together a good product. He cares about his name in the headlines and the valuation of the Cowboys, because otherwise he wouldn't wait for the last minute to sign Dak and Lamb and now Micah Parsons. And it's getting ugly. Micah Parsons getting a second opinion on his back. His brother is tweeting out, this is going 12 rounds. You've been in some ugly standoffs, I assume.
Oh, yeah.
But what's your takeaway here?
Yeah, unfortunately, I have been a part of those things. And And I've always felt that the best thing to do is to say nothing publicly on either side. You don't want to try to leverage people publicly. And I think once one side says something, then the other side feels like they have to say something and becomes this unnecessary competitiveness. And the bottom line is, Micah wants to get paid. Micah should get paid. He should get paid a lot of money. And Jerry wants to pay him. They just have to figure this thing out. I don't know Jerry's reasons for, making things and doing business the way he does. But my instincts tell me that he's going to make sure that he gets business done at some point in time. I can't believe that he would ever, and that he or Steven would ever let a player of Micah's ability get out of that building. And the toughest thing, as you bring up, J-Mac, is you just hope during these kind of, these controversial negotiations, you just need to work as hard as possible to keep family business, because inevitably, if you talk publicly, someone's going to say something that hurts the other side, and you hope that you can reel that stuff in later on.
So I'm obsessed with team building. I really love talking about this stuff. And we have a graphic, I hope they could pull it, that we used earlier in the show about that 2021 draft class that Micah Parsons was in. And listen, Scott, all the best guys, Trevor Lawrence, Jamar Chase, Patrick Surtain, they all were paid early, right?
Yeah.
You get that out of the way.
Yeah.
Listen, you worked in front offices. There's one guy of all the stars from this draft class in the first round who has not been paid. There's also one guy who's been the All-Pro 3 times, only one, and it's Micah Parsons. So
yeah,
you know this.
I can't say I agree with the way that business is getting done. And here's the thing: if you pay someone early, it's going to be at a discount, because wherever the tide is right now, however high it is right now, it's going to be less next year. And that's with every position, because every year we read every single position every year has a new record-setting contract done at its position. That's the way it happens. So the earlier that you get a deal done, the more potential savings. Is it cash out the door right now? Yes, it is. But there's more potential savings. And, I don't know too many teams that have signed really good players that maintain playing well where it ends up being a bad deal. The only bad deals is when the player stinks it up or the player gets injured, and then it doesn't work out. So I'm all about and that's how we were most every place I ever worked. You tried to get the contracts done. You brought up Tom Brady before. We got that deal done early. And because we did, not only did he give us a discount, but because of the market that we negotiated the contract in, it was a discount just naturally.
Yeah, Again, I don't want to call out Jerry Jones too much. He's kind of powerful. But, Scott, when you just think about that, what you just said, everywhere I've worked for the last 20 years, and you work with a lot of champs, that's how they do business. He seems to be the only one not doing it that way. Is there any guess as to why, other than he likes seeing his name in the headlines?
No, but here's the other thing I'll say. Here's the other thing. He's a billionaire for a reason, so he knows how to do business, right? He has done something right, or a bunch of somethings right when it comes to business to make money. He didn't just fall off the turnip truck. He's done some smart things in his life to make money. Why he does it this way, I don't know. And I'm also not very good at speculating as to why people make certain decisions. So, to do business a certain way. But, Jerry has clearly done business that I have, because I'm not looking at the bank account that he is.
Well, okay, we won't get at his billionaire status. But I want to quickly pivot. I totally forgot about this. So we talked about Brock Purdy yesterday, and I am a Brock Purdy guy. I don't mind gassing him up. I feel like I can rock with this guy. I love his story. You were with Brady in the early years when he took over for Bledsoe. And I keep trying to tell people, I'm a nerdy sports fan. I was following the league. Tom Brady, despite winning that first Super Bowl, was thought of as a game manager for several years. Isn't that what the storyline was with Brady? Like, hey, Bledsoe, that's the guy.
It was.
Yeah.
But again, revisionist history on things is very interesting.
Yes.
And with Tommy, it was interesting. He was, and again, a game manager isn't a bad thing. When you're called a game manager, that generally means you're doing a lot of really smart stuff. You're making a lot of really good decisions, and you're winning football games usually. And with Brady, he was still developing. And I think there's different kind of game managers. Is it a game manager that's developing? And again, I've never I don't know why people get insulted by game managing, being called game managers, because that's part of the job of being the quarterback. Yeah. That's part of what you have to do. When we started things early on, Tommy was still developing. He was developing his skills. He was developing his accuracy. He was developing his foot movement, his movement in the pocket. And we had a really good defense. People forget that we had a 1,200-yard rusher in Antoine Smith. We had a really, really good defense, and he was surrounded by good people and good players. Therefore, that made his development better. And the other thing about player development, particularly the quarterback position, I still believe it's very much circumstantial. And Tommy was in the right program for him, and he was the right guy for us. So it wasn't one or the other. And it wasn't just Tommy and Bill. I mean, Dick Raybon did an incredible job working with him his first year. Charlie Weiss did an incredible job. He also did a super job of play calling to the strengths of Tom Brady. And that's what Kyle Shanahan is doing with Brock Purdy. I think quarterbacks need to end up in the right situations and the right people. It has to be the right marriage, and it gives them a chance to develop. And there's a lot of things that are really right for Brock Purdy. Between Kyle and Bobby Turner, their running back coach, and what Kyle learned from his dad, Mike, they know the running game. They are incredible in the running game, which allows them to play action pass, which really helps Purdy in terms of his protection and how much time he has. So it all kind of works together, J-Mac.
I love that. What a great answer. And I don't want to act like game managers derogatory, but when these quarterback lists come out, Scott, it's always like, oh, yeah, Brock Purdy's like 10 to 18. And I'm like, guys, he's been dominant for 3 years. And
J-Mac, you're 100% right. Here's the other thing is, look at how many games he's won. And more importantly, one of our sayings was always, you end up losing more games than you win.
Yeah.
Right? And when you look at those quarterbacks, how many games have they lost? I'm not talking about wins and losses, but did they lose you games? Are they doing dumb things in order for you to lose games? That's not what you're looking for. And Brock doesn't do that.
Hope people are listening. Scott Pioli, longtime NFL fixture in front offices. Great stuff. And enjoy the college seasons, buddy.
J-Mac, thanks very much. Rachel, take care.
See you, Scott.